G Cobb with you, and we're talking about the Eagles. And I've been looking at this team all year, and I'm going to talk about some things that I think are very crucial to the future of the Philadelphia Eagles in this season. The number one thing that I believe is true, and this is on both sides of the ball. The Eagles have to be aggressive. They've got to be aggressive, and this is what I mean. Offensively, they've got to be aggressive, meaning they've got to put a lot of things in the hands of their offensive line. They can't get away from pounding the ball on people. I'm talking about an aggressive running game where it's physical football with double teams and physical football. They've got an outstanding offensive line and an outstanding blocking tight end. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to run the football on opposing teams, and that's with Jalen running or without Jalen running. They've got to be able to run the football on people. That means be physical, where you're punishing and you're pounding and beating up the other team and you're taking yardage. They've got to have that. They can't get away from that. That's the way they've got to be aggressive offensively, because once they do that, throwing the ball is going to be easier. Doing everything is going to be easier. But they can't get away from that physical, aggressive part of the game. They can't get away. Can't come out throwing the ball every play. No, you got to be physical. Against the better teams, you're not going to be able to just throw the ball every play. You got to slow down their pass rush and take over the game by letting your offensive line get physical with the defense. They've got to be able to go to that. They can't get away from that. Now, defensively, I think they've got to be aggressive as well. That means you got to play some man-to-man. I'm not saying you got to be blitzing all the time. I'm saying you got to play some man-to-man. You can't just concede yards and you let a team, which I think the Washington Commanders, and we've seen it here from the Saints, both of them had the same philosophy against the Eagles. Control the ball, run the ball against the Eagles, throw the short passing game, and you can control the ball and keep their offense off the field, and you force the Eagles to have to throw the ball too much. You get them in a panic. So now, and everybody can feel it, where the Eagles are letting this game slip away from them. They're getting behind. They got to throw the ball now. So then you throw the ball too much. And you don't have a balanced attack, and you get away from that physical punishing game. And so they've got to be aggressive. And I say offensively with a physical running game, can't get away from that. You got to they need to start out the game with some of that. You can't just throw the ball every play. You're not going to be able to do that against a good team. I mean, New Orleans showed us that. And Washington, they did a good job of doing the same thing, controlling the ball when they get the ball from the Eagles, short passing game. And the Eagles want to jump in a soft zone all the time. You can't play a soft zone all the time, because that allows the team, if they're willing to and they're disciplined, they just say, okay, we'll take 5 yards. Yeah, well, if they complete those 5-yard passes and with a couple of 2-yard or 2.5-yard gains, then they got a first down and they can control the game. And we saw the New Orleans did this. They were very disciplined about just throwing the ball short and then running the ball and putting it together. And they knowing that we're going to be sitting in a soft zone. So they just take the short yardage. And you won't get in. You want to play man-to-man. Oh, no, we can't play man-to-man. Well, then if we can't play the man-to-man, then we don't have a secondary that's any good. No, we do have a good secondary. We can play man-to-man. Come on. Going to sit in that soft zone all the time. Why did we go out and get quality, cornerbacks and safeties if we can't play man-to-man? We can't ever play man-to-man. The defensive coordinator is so scared we can't play man-to-man. Now, that's ridiculous. And you're going to get beat. If you're going to play that, we've seen 2 teams beat the Eagles where they're playing the soft zone and not playing aggressively. Come on. We got to have confidence that we're the better football team. And we got to be able to ask our defensive backs, you guys are going to have to play some man-to-man. because we can't just concede, 5 yards to the other team so that they can keep the ball and keep progressing down the field with a ball possession game plan. We can't just concede that. You can't play football that way. Cannot do it. And we see a team like New Orleans playing man-to-man like the first half. They were playing all man-to-man because they wanted to they didn't want to give the Eagles anything. And they were able to, along with the way their pass rush was, they had Minshew he didn't want to turn the ball over. And they're in man-to-man, and they were able to shut down the Eagles' offense. Cannot allow that. Meaning you got to be able to go to a physical running game because you should be able to run the football, and you've got to be able to run the football. It's simple as that. You got to go to the offensive line. They've got to say, we've got to be able to run the football. And you can't be just reliant on Jalen Hurts making it happen. That offensive line has got to be the key. And that way you don't ever get away from that. But they've got to be aggressive on both sides of the football. You can't play soft football where, offensively, you're going to throw the ball every play, and defensively, you're going to sit in a soft zone because you don't have confidence in your players. Come on. We're supposed to have one of the best secondaries in the league, but we can't play man-to-man. Other teams play man-to-man. I mean, we saw New Orleans. They were playing man-to-man. They didn't have any problem playing man-to-man. And we've got quality receivers, and they were playing man-to-man. We can play man-to-man too, especially we got to mix it up. And we're not going to be living in man-to-man. We're going to be playing it all the time. We're going to mix up the coverages. That's one of the advantages you're supposed to have as a defensive coordinator is you can play whatever you want to play. You don't just play one coverage, and you just don't concede yardage. You cannot play that way against a good team. We've seen two teams, dominate possession of the football and beat the Eagles. This has happened twice this year. The Washington game, and we saw it against New Orleans. They had the same game plan offensively. Take those short passes, just convert, those third and shorts, stay out of third and long. And they showed it. I mean, they were able to do that. And we got to be able to get in man-to-man and take things away from them. You've got to be able to play. That means that's aggressive football. Aggressive football is coming out and pounding the football on people with that running game. With a running game, they can't stop. That's what you do. That's got to be part of the game plan. Cannot just play the game where you got to throw the ball every play because you can't do that. That's not consistent enough. You got to be able to go to something you can rely on all the time, and I'm talking about the running game. And that means aggressive football on both sides of the football, on both sides. I mean, on defense and on offense, where you're aggressive. Offensively, we're aggressive in that we're going to run the ball. Defensively, we're going to be aggressive. We are going to play some man-to-man. We're definitely going to challenge your receivers. We're not going to just concede yardage. They've got to be aggressive in both mindsets and refuse to be afraid of going in the mentality where we're going to run the football on the other team and we're going to play man-to-man and we're going to lock down the other team, get pressure on the quarterback. We're not giving you any yardage. We're not conceding 4 and 5 yards to let you just control the game. Come on. And then just sit in it and go, well, we believe in this. Look, we got to get off the field. Can't leave our defense on the field for 15 plays, 9-minute drive, and think that that's, even if they kicked a field goal, that wouldn't have been good football. You're not going to win that way. And that's got to stop. Got to be aggressive. Are we the better team? We're the better team. And we got to be aggressive about it. We've got to be confident in that. We got to be willing to go out and play aggressive football. And that means, and I'm talking about Offensively, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the football. We're going to have 4 or 5 running plays that we are going to dominate with those plays. We're taking them. We're taking 4 or 5 yards every time we run the ball. And we got to talk to the blockers up front. This is what we expect. And this is what we've got to have. If we want to win, this is what we've got to be able to do against the best defenses in the NFL. Because once we do that, we're going to be able to throw the ball. We're going to be very effective throwing the ball. But we've got to be, we can't be the point where, oh, well, we can't run the ball against these guys. No, we're not letting anybody dictate that to us. We are running the ball on the other team. And defensively, we are willing to play man-to-man. We're not just to sit in a zone the whole time. Oh, we don't want to get beat deep. So we got to be scared. So we can't play man-to-man. Well, then I don't want to hear about how good the defensive secondary is. I don't want to hear about that anymore because New Orleans did it. Good teams are able to do that. You got to challenge your players. And this team has got to step up in those areas. Aggressive football on both sides when they've got the football and when they're playing defense. Got to be aggressive. Aggressive offensively in that we're going to run the ball. Aggressive defensively in that we are going to play some man-to-man. Wow. I mean, either one of those strategies is not like, well, wow, they're going crazy. No, it's winning football. And if they want to be a championship team, they're going to have to do those 2 things. Cannot concede. Let the team, sit over there and let them just, you got Andy Dalton completing 12 out of 12 passes. That's okay. It's not okay. 12 out of 12 passes. What kind of defense you have? You're letting the guy complete passes that easily. And we saw that last year. The same mentality. Playing a soft zone. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, that's really brilliant. Yeah, we'll be sitting at home looking at the playoffs. You keep doing that. And they got to get a mentality where we are able to do these 2 things. We run the ball on everybody. We're not just a running team, but we can run it when we got to, and we're going to take yardage on the ground. I don't care if we got to put 3 tight ends in there. We are running the ball, and we are going to run physical plays where we're taking that yardage. If we got to go with extra offensive linemen, we are running the ball on defenses. We're not going to just come out and throw the ball every play. I mean, you can see that where you're just on the field, you don't have the ball at all. Just let the other team just dominate possession. Cannot do that. And that's not championship football. That's not championship football. And you look at the teams you're going to have to beat. You better know that you're going to have to, you're going to have to prove that you can do these 2 things, because when you look at the teams that beat the Eagles, 2 teams that beat the Eagles. Look at Washington. Look at that Washington game. The Cowboys game it's more just, it was kind of a up and down type of game. But in the two other games they lost, where the other team dominated the Eagles, they dominated it. They dominated the Birds defensively by holding on to the ball. That means you keep the offense off the field. Running the ball, short passing game. Short passing game against the zone where you're just giving up these short passes because you're so afraid of getting beat deep. Well, you get beat. I'd rather risk getting beat deep and not just concede to getting beat, where you let the other team control the ball for 9 minutes on one drive. So that's got to be aggressive football on both sides of the ball. We run the football. We never let a team just force us into just throwing the ball every play. We don't do that. We're not letting anybody dictate that to us. We are going to run the ball. We're going to be successful running the ball. And we're also defensively, we are going to play man-to-man and lock you down and give you nothing. We're going to have plays where we lock you down. We cover all the receivers. There's nobody to go to. We're not giving you just short yardage. We're gonna lock you down to where we're gonna cover the receivers, and then we're getting pass press. Our pass rush is gonna get there. We're locking down the short stuff. We're not giving it to you, and then our pass rush is gonna get there. That's what That's what kind of ball we're playing. We are not conceding anything. That's what the Eagles have got to do if they want to win. Those two areas have got to be solidified. Cannot concede. Got to be done. Want to win? Get it done. Aggressive football on both sides of the ball. Aggressive football. No apologies. Let's get it done.